This is episode number 51 of the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast with our special guest, Coach Kevin Turner. Welcome to the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast. My name is Jeff Thornton, alongside my co-host, Michael Anders. Each week, we bring you an inspiring person or message related to our three pillars of success: manifestation, business, fitness, and nutrition. Our intent is to enrich, educate, and empower our audience to take action, control, and accountability for their decisions. Thank you for allowing us to join you on your journey. Now let's get started. We would like to thank today's sponsor, Meltdown in the Desert 2, the marketing and entrepreneur seminar of the summer. The Meltdown in the Desert is the summer's hottest social media and entrepreneur event of the year. This influential event brings together some of the industry's top leaders across business, marketing, and social media. In this two-day conference, you will walk away with tactics and strategies used by some of the top leaders to directly implement into your personal or business. Be sure to check out the Meltdown in the Desert 2 on the website mditd2.eventbrite.com.
Hey, what's good, crew? Welcome to episode 51 of the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast. Jeff and Durs in the building with Kevin Turner, founder of the Core Facility, Mr. Speed himself.
Nice.
What's up, man? How are you today?
I'm good. I got a pet peeve about my name.
Why? Why is that?
No, I got pet peeves, dog. I got pet peeves, and one of them is. I mean, you can call me Kev. I don't care.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I know you.
Right.
So that's cool.
We people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people have this thing in this day and age that they want to call you Kev. Like the bill collector called me and said, "Hey, is Kev there?" I'm like, "I don't know you, homie. Don't call me Kev. You call, hey, Mr. Turner."
Right.
Or Coach. That's and then when we get cool, I can, oh, okay, you have the privilege of calling me, Kev.
Yeah.
We cool now.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that's lost in the society a
Yeah.
little bit. Everybody wants to be on this friendly.
Super familiar.
And I'm not that dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Not that dude.
I can understand that, man. It happens a lot though nowadays
Yeah.
with the newer generation. Everybody does just sort of short track that
Right.
relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And look how it's turning out.
Right. Well, look, man. The reason that we have you on the show today is you moved in. Are you there 18 months now? 2 years?
Nah. More
Longer
like,
than
no, shorter. Much shorter.
Really? Okay.
Probably about a year now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You moved in a couple suites down from the gym and got the core facility up and running. And I remember our first encounter. The thing I loved about you the most, man, is you just keep it real.
Yeah.
100. And it's very rare in this day and age, especially within the industry. What you do in fitness,
Yeah.
what I do in fitness.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think they're diametrically opposed. They can't exist in the same space. And the thing I appreciate about our relationship on a professional level is that we are able to have intelligent, non-abrasive conversation
Yes.
about the pros and cons of each other's practice.
Yes.
And with everything that you got going on and the athletes that you worked with and the way that you go about teaching people fitness, I told Jeff, I was like, "Dawg, we gotta have Kev,
Mr. Turner on the show."
But for everybody who doesn't know who you are, where you come from, or how the core facility came to be, go on and give us the cliff notes, man.
Okay, real quick. I was born in Jamaica, so I'm actually native of Jamaica. I came to America when I was a kid, and grew up in New York. Went to school in Northern Virginia, and then bounced over here, and started doing my thing here after graduating. I ran track and played football,
Okay.
but I kind of stuck to track.
Okay.
I loved football more than track, but I transferred. My school just happened to not have football.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I had to stick to track, which was fine.
What'd you run?
200, 400, 800.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was weird.
The long sprints.
Yeah, I actually ran the mile in flats in 420 in practice one day, and they were freaking out. Like, wait a minute, you don't train for that. What?
Right.
I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that, by the way, ever again. But yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, I like the middle distance in the sprints. I don't know, something's wrong with me, I guess.
Yeah.
The pain.
I mean, that 400 is a painful race.
It's a beautiful race, though.
Yeah.
Of those three, what was your best event?
That's interesting. I think I was reasonably even in all of them.
Okay.
Yeah. I was probably, and this goes into training.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably designed more for the 4, the 8, and the mile, not the 2, the 4, and the 8. Because in high school, I graduated weighing 150. I'm 6 feet. I was weighing 155 pounds.
Okay.
So my body is a thin design.
Sure.
So that's why I did okay in that 1 mile thing when they were just testing us, and I've never ran a mile before, and I hate distance.
But you're light and full of fast twitch.
And that I was weirdly combined. So my speed came from my strength.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough. So
Sure.
by the 100 for the 200, once I got off the curb, you better not slow down at all, because that's when I was.
Because you're still accelerating.
I'm just getting up to like full throttle.
Yeah.
And so that was where, for me, it was. I remember the first time I ran the 2, and I crossed, and I was not even breathing. I was like, wait a minute, I like this.
But it's interesting that you say that. That's what made you good at the 200. For those of you that don't know track and field, guys like you that hit their top end later, oftentimes end up excelling in the 4, the 8, and the mile, because they can't hit top end speed. However, for you accelerate fast enough that when everybody's at top end and starting to slow down at that 125, 150 mark, you're still
I was still
accelerating.
close enough,
Right.
to where I
That's
would reel them in.
I don't know too many guys.
It's the
that have
weirdest
that.
combination.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. And the funny thing is, I didn't know. I probably could have been even faster if I had trained to be faster, but I had always been trained for the 400.
Yeah.
The coaches, I only got to run the 200 because one day I told them, can I try this?
Yeah.
Just give me one.
Okay.
And so the first time I ran it, I think I ran 21 point something, and they were like, wait a minute.
That's cooking.
And this is high school.
Yeah.
I was sitting here saying, I like this. Let me run this. But he was like, no, you're running the 8. I was like, the 8? Oh, come on. And then I did that. First time I ran that, I ran 157 or something like that. And they were like, okay, we need you over here. It was weird. So I don't know. That's why when I look at athletes, I don't necessarily, or an individual, I don't necessarily lock you in and say you cannot.
Sure.
My thing is, I look at you and say, from what you're doing, what can we develop?
Right.
What can we develop? Because that's what people do. They sit down and they say, oh, yeah, you're tall. You should be a 400 man, such as Usain Bolt, which is a pet peeve of mine, by the way.
That he was the 1 and the 2?
No. He technically started off with the 4. He doesn't like the pain.
Yeah, he can't push past that.
A lot of people don't like the pain of the 4, so they just
right.
It's not with him. It's with the industry.
Okay.
Because all growing up, all I've ever heard was if you're taller than 6'2", well, it was 6 feet at one point.
Yeah.
And then because Carl Lewis started killing everybody, they were like, oh, well, 6'2" is kind of like the cutoff. And see how slow he gets out? Yeah, that's how it is.
Right.
And that bothered me because I've never heard anyone in the industry or let's say the science of movement
Sure.
admit to, we don't know shit.
Okay.
Okay? No one's ever said that. Hey, you know what? We were wrong with that. We don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Because now you got Usain Bolt, 6'5", getting out with everyone.
Right.
And now destroying them at the end. And then they say, oh, well, it's because now you have a reason after the fact.
Right.
If you can't predict a thing before the fact, you're really not that good.
Right.
Sure.
Your science is shoddy.
Okay.
And so that's why I look when I listen, but I take everything with a grain of salt, and I analyze it for myself. And I say, well, anything is possible. The human body. Who are you to tell some kid,
right,
you're not going to be good at such and such, or you're he's a little small. He's not gonna. He might grow 6 inches in college.
Yeah.
Like Dennis Rodman did.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, shut up and train the best you can for what it is. Be positive with it.
Yep.
And let the human body and the human spirit and the heart and desire of the human being be the thing that impresses you. Because you can't. There's a slogan, actually, and I don't mean to drag on.
No, keep on going.
There's a slogan that I love, and I used to have it on my site all the time, and it's by it's Einstein, but it's another guy. I can't remember his name. I think he came up with it first, and they associate it with Einstein as well. It's, and I hope I say this right. If y'all know, please correct me if I'm wrong. Not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts.
Right.
And we seem to think everything that can be counted is what's important, when in reality, you can't measure someone's desire and heart.
Right.
I remember my high school teacher told me, not teacher, guidance counselor, say, you're not college material. Don't even go to college. It'll be a waste of time. I mean, this is my guidance counselor.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, what in the world is that?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of advice is that? To hell with you too, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
I was like, And I'm really impressionable at that time in my life.
Right.
I was like, wow, oh, really? Wow. But I was a different kind of kid, so I was like, take the middle finger and go do whatever you need to do with it, and I'm going to go take care of what I need to take care of. And I went to college, I graduated, did my thing, and whatever. Right.
So when it comes to training, you and I have had very extensive conversation about any and all things.
And I enjoy those conversations, actually.
They're really good, man.
Yes.
And I want to shed some light on some of those conversations, one of which I was kind of just cruising by the core facility with Tristan, my son.
Yes.
And I asked you a question about, just to get your opinion on what, are you or are you not able to teach speed? And your answer, that's how you started the answer. But the answer that you gave me was actually pretty profound. And from a coach to coach perspective, we have a lot of coaches that listen to the podcast. Tell everybody what you told me.
Hopefully, I'll remember. Well, my take on teaching speed is. Usually slow people try to teach speed, which is the worst thing possible. Do
you mean that in the sense that the guy riding the bench, not Peyton Manning, is trying to teach being a quarterback?
See, exactly.
Like
the lineman is teaching you how to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what it doesn't work.
Okay.
If you're playing football, and I love football, and that's who I train primarily usually. You want to get, if I want to get faster, I'm going to the track guy.
Right.
That's who I'm going to, because that's all he does all day.
Sure.
Okay, so it makes no sense to go to learn speed from a football guy. You go to a football guy to learn footwork, to learn how to play the game.
Right.
The nuances of the movement of that game.
Sure.
But if you want to get fast for the 40, I'm not talking to the weightlifting coach.
Right.
I'm talking to the track coach, saying, how do I get in the proper mechanical stance to explode in the right way in order to generate the force I need for that short amount of time?
Right.
how do I maximize my I'm going to that guy. If your life depended on it. Mm-hmm. And see, that's what people don't think. If it were your life and it depended on it and someone had a gun to you and said, listen, I'm going to kill you if you don't run such and such and such. You have a choice of all these people who can teach you. I'm going to the track coach.
Michael Johnson. Call us.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So why would you do anything else? What I had told you, really, I digress to get off the topic, but what I had told you was, when it comes to kids, you have no idea what their potential is.
Right.
I don't care who you are. You have no idea. That's like the science thing I said earlier. Mm-hmm. You have no idea. They develop at different rates. So when it comes to teaching speed, you may have a certain amount that you were blessed with.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean you're going to win in the long run. You have to have that intangible, which I had discussed earlier, heart and desire and all of that.
Right.
The proper training, all of that does matter in the equation.
Sure.
It's a taught thing. When you look at Usain Bolt, he wasn't winning everything. He had to learn how to get faster. Actually, he had to get this coach that he has, and that coach is who helped him to get better and better and better. Now, you can argue, hey, he has certain genetic potential and blah, 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 blah. Right. Yes, that may be the case, but that is not the end all. Right. That is not. Stop with just because this kid is fast today, he's going to be fast and win everything tomorrow. Right. Doesn't work that way. I think I went out for track in high school in 11th grade or something like that. Okay. And I did okay. I was started to do all right. It wasn't until my senior year, for some reason, all my things just connected and aligned. Right. And all of a sudden, I was dusting everybody. And they were wondering, wait a minute, why are you beating everybody all of a sudden? I don't know. I weigh nothing. I train hard, harder than them. But I wanted to win. So the coach would say, go on your anchor leg. And I was like, man, I'm not going to do this. Yeah. And he was like, and one day my friend came by. I said, why do they always? Because I was pissed. Yeah. I said, why do you guys keep putting me on anchor? He said, because you hate losing more than everybody else. And either you'll win or you'll break your old time. That's what you do. Right. You never run the same time. You either win, whatever it is, run the same time you did before, or you'll run a better time and lose. Okay. If they're going to beat you, they're going to have to, like, run beat their best you. Race. Yes. Yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah, I hate losing.
What gives you that drive? What is that something that just comes from you internally, or was it the surroundings, your people?
Honestly, I think it's everything. It's cultivated, but it's like being an entrepreneur. I found someone said something about that. They said entrepreneurship is something that you're kind of born with. It's you can try to teach someone, but I mean, I've had like girlfriends and relationships, and I'm like, you'll sleep on the floor and do this and that. Why don't you just get a job? And I'm like, nah, I'm not that kind of slave. Right. Nah. And they were like, wow, you'd rather be hungry and not eat? And I'm like, yeah. Sure. Yeah. That's what it is. I mean, it's like track. Are you going to stop at the 300 meters when you got another 100? It's hurting. Yeah. Every step is hurting. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm finishing. Yeah. Right. Period. So if I make a decision, I'm going for it. Right. I'd rather end my day saying, it's all on the table. Yeah, good race, dog. You won. Yeah. Hey. But I'm not going to do it and say, oh, okay, well, I could. No, I don't live my life that way. Right.
That's crazy. Right. That mindset reminds me. Have you heard of David Goggins?
Oh my goodness. Somebody just sent me that last week.
You have to look at him. I'm ultra marathoner. This guy's incredible. Talking about,
yeah. She was like, that's you. So like, that's your brother.
Yeah, he's the real
he's
deal.
Crazy though.
He's the real deal.
He went. I'm impressed with him, but I was kind of like,
he's the Navy SEAL, right?
Navy SEAL. Well, he went through 3 branches of the military: Air Force, Navy, and
Green Beret,
and Army. Yeah. And man, this dude, he's an ultra marathoner.
Yep.
He's saying everything I've said.
All this stuff.
Yeah. He says, he looked in the mirror. He was like, yeah, you're about weak as possible, and fix it.
Yeah.
And he said that's what a lot of people don't do. They don't look at them. He's like, this society's too nice where we're like, no, you're smart, you're intelligent.
Yeah.
And he said, you got to tell yourself, like, I'm the dumbest motherfucker in the room right now. Like, I'm the slowest. And he said, that's the only time you can really start improving when you tell yourself you're the absolute worst and you actually admit that you're not good at something instead of giving yourself the lie. So that's like, that whole mindset is what you're speaking on. It reminded me of it.
This is what I'm talking about with kids, and because I train kids, and the reason why I enjoy training the youth is primarily because when I was being trained, I don't think people paid enough attention.
Okay.
I think most coaches say, oh, well, I got 50 kids. How can I have all of them and take care of? You need a new job, homie. You need a new job. Figure it out.
Right.
Figure it out. Because you may not be able to get to everybody in that hour, but you need to figure out how you can get couple of these kids who aren't getting the attention they need on the weekend or some other time, or get another job. It's not that serious for you. It's not your passion.
Right.
You're looking for something else. Get out of here. And I look at it this way. If you're going to be in my charge, I'm giving you 100.
All of it. Yep.
If you don't want 100, you can kick rocks. You can leave.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm not mad at you. You can be second. If you're second and you gave it all, I'm all in with you.
Yeah.
But if you're second because you're kind of there, nah, we're not on the same team. We're not on the same team.
Right. It's that whole thing. Are you interested or are you committed?
There you
You
go.
know?
And this third place winner thing.
Oh,
That
everybody
they
gets,
started.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a trophy. Stop it.
Yeah.
well, it's
Sit
not.
down.
It's not real life.
What
You
happens when you go get a job and they don't hire you? What are you gonna do? What happens if you're talking to that girl or that guy and they don't like you?
Right.
You don't know how to deal with rejection and losing, and that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
And
I mean,
you know, the other thing that it teaches, you know, the message being received is that, you know, I don't have to try that hard
yes.
to feel successful.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and I think that there's a very valuable lesson along the way when you've given it your all and you still come up short. And if you never have that experience or you don't have enough of those experiences, you'll never overcome when it really counts.
Well said. Well said.
You know, and I think that, you know, for us as coaches and athletes and having had those experiences environmentally imposed on us prepares you to succeed in life.
It does.
You know, but if you remove that aspect from athletics and everybody gets a participation trophy, you know, and gets the feeling of success just for signing up, you're not preparing people to succeed later on, to overcome, to handle adversity, you know, and then all of a sudden it's everybody else's fault.
Right.
And what we were just talking about, where you can look yourself in the mirror and admit that you're not good.
Yeah.
That conversation never happens.
Well, you don't have to say, like Goggins said, I'm the worst ever. Listen, I'm not the best looking guy, but I mean, I'm happy with me.
Yeah.
I could be worse.
Yeah.
So the way I look at it, I'm like, you got what you got. Do the best. Hey, you may not have all the looks, but hey, maybe you can work your personality, make it a little smoother. Maybe you can get your body right.
Yeah.
Work what you can work, and the things that need to come to you will come to you.
Right.
And appreciate what you got. Don't stop looking at everybody else. Work on when you run track. One of the biggest things you have to learn: stop looking at the guy next to you. You're running against the clock. That's who you
every time.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the person right next to nothing. You run your race. You focus on the clock, and everything will pan out how it's supposed to pan out. You can use the other person as motivation if you'd like, but other than that, I mean, it is what it is. But back to your, I keep getting y'all off topic. I know you asked me about the speed. Speed definitely can be taught. I got faster. Everyone gets faster. If you train properly, and as you get faster, it becomes more nuanced. You have to find the smallest things to make you that much faster, drop off 1/100th of a second and this and that. And over time, it gets bit by bit. You start chewing up the clock. That's really what it is. You're taught that. Now, do I think there's some people who just have a ceiling? Of course.
Sure.
I mean, if you got thick ankles, I don't see too many thick ankle people running like world-class times. It's just those people are designed for power.
Yeah.
Now, they're quick. They can be quick.
Right.
But they're not going to be fast, let's say.
Yeah, sure.
You're not designed for that. And that's okay. Maybe, I mean, look at people from Hawaii.
Brian Clay?
Polynesians?
Polynesians,
Polynesians.
yes. They're designed.
Yeah, they're big. They're monsters.
They're about as solid as the beams holding up the building.
Yeah.
That's their design.
Right.
They're quick. Now, are they fast and running 100 and dusting anyone? No. But they have their position.
Right.
Like in football, play a position.
So where do you stand on that when you're, because I'm sure you've encountered it over the years, where somebody who's not designed for the goals that they have, is there a conversation to be had, or do you still make a deliberate attempt to train to that metric?
That's a very good question. That's one of the best questions I've been asked in a long time. Wow. If you come to me and you want my opinion, I'll help you with that part of it. If you come in and say, hey, you know, I want to be faster, stronger, that's what I do. I make you as fast as I can make you and as strong as I can make you. Once I learn what you play and your thing, I may tweak a couple of things. For example, one guy was a receiver, but he was 220 and 6'1" or something, 220. Too big, yeah.
Like a David Boston looking dude.
He was yoked. I said, you're too big. You're not running for anything.
David Boston has some extra.
He's huge. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. That boy is huge. The biggest receiver I've ever seen in my life.
well, the situation is this. If it's a kid, let's say we're talking about kids. Someone brings and says, hey, listen, can you get my son faster or my daughter faster? Soccer. Yeah, I can do that. I can definitely help you with that. But what are your goals? And then you get to find out, I want to be a linebacker. I want to be 230. Yeah, but you're like 5'2". Wait a minute.
Right.
We need to think about what you're trying to do.
Sure.
You're a senior or you're a junior and you're 5'2". Maybe you need to think about possibly receiver because you have really good hands. You're quick.
Right.
You know the game really well. You know, everybody's 6'6", 6'5". Let's think about this.
Sure.
And let me train you hybrid-wise.
Yeah.
So that we give you both options. Because I never want to say never.
Right.
Because it's funny how the human spirit has a way of making you look stupid. So I will still give my best for that, but I will give my opinion and say, hey, listen, that's I'm glad you said that. Actually, I just thought of a client. He played for Stanford. I got him when he was 16 or 15. His name, I'm gonna give you a plug, is Drew Terrell. He's now coaching at Michigan. He was playing defensive back. And I went outside one day and I was training him and I said, okay, let me see how you catch it. So I threw the ball. He caught it. I said, you have pretty good hands. And so we kept throwing. I said, if you're a defensive back and you can catch, you're a danger. You're dangerous because that means the ball is up in the air, 50-50.
Yep.
And if you can catch like a receiver, it's over.
Right.
So next year, he was a receiver.
Okay.
Balled out. Before you know it, he was like huge in Arizona and in the nation and got a full scholarship to Stanford and did his thing as a receiver.
Okay.
So I look at the individuals and I give them flexibility, not only with how I train them and have them not only quick in different ways, but teach them that, hey, you don't have to just lock in one thing. Understand the game you're playing overall.
Yeah.
so that you have if someone says, I don't want you as a receiver, and you happen to have hands and you can punt return, guess what? You're still in the league.
Right.
And you can build from there.
Sure.
So you give people as much opportunity as possible.
So here's the other question I wanted to ask you, because we were talking about everybody knows how to train better than you, right? And I was telling you about when I was strength coaching over at the high school, and I had this parent come up to me and say, why is my son in particular, but the team not moving more weight? And my answer was, speed kills.
Yes.
Like this team is not blessed with enough talent and enough size for me to put a program together around moving heavy loads slow.
Right.
Yeah.
For this squad, it's going to hurt their performance on the field. So I wrote the program so that they got faster and more powerful to compensate for lack of size and strength. And
I got something to say about all that.
so, but how do you silence those that don't know but have led themselves to believe that they know?
Well, you're in a tough position in that. You're in a very tough position because you can't. Because stupid is stupid.
Sure.
If someone is that locked in, and you can't, if you said what you just said to them and they don't, okay, and think about it and, do some research or whatever they need to do,
Sure.
then there's nothing you can do, man. You're just going to be hitting your head against the wall. It's some people, they've got to do what they got to do.
Yeah.
Now, speed kills, yes, every time. Every time. These are kids, man.
Right.
They don't fully grow until they get to the league.
Right. And that's what I tell my kids who feel like they're out of position or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're fast and you play,
We can always add weight to you later on.
you're going to get bigger. This is the other half of my argument.
Yep.
This kid is 15 years old.
What? Stop it.
Oh, wow.
Stop it.
Between now and 18, I promise you he's going to get bigger.
Yeah.
Whether I trained him or not.
I grew like 4 inches, 5 inches in height
Yeah.
between 15 and 18.
And people place so much precedent on right now. But if we spend time making you slow in an attempt to make you strong,
Yep.
well, guess what? You're still not getting recruited.
Listen. Carlos Dansby.
Yeah.
I'm dropping another name. Carlos Dansby. I was training him once, and some of the kids came in, and they were talking about how, we got to lift heavy and da-da-da. And I was shaking my head, and I said, Dansby, what do you think? Because I knew what he was going to say. I kind of had an idea. And he said, I didn't lift in college. He was like, I never lifted. He was like, I learned the game. I learned how to play. I understood the defense and the offense. I learned what to do because that was more important. He's like, I really didn't lift much in college till closer to the end. And then, but the reality is, the big kids are usually they grew up eating Burger King in the hood and are already 6'5", 225, 230, 260, whatever.
Right.
They are that way built like that.
Right.
You're not going to be that.
You were going to be that.
Yeah. That's not you. If you're going to be that, you're going to be that big.
Yeah, that's in your genetics.
So your thing is, and I'm 100% with you. I teach body awareness, spatial awareness, because as a young person, you lose spatial awareness because you're growing.
Right.
So you're the difference between me blocking a pass or kicking the ball properly or whatever is my connection to my body.
Right.
And so the more that's developed, the nuances of that, the better athlete you become.
Sure.
Gretzky.
Yeah.
Gretzky was not a big guy. And who is Gretzky? I could just say Gretzky like I say Madonna.
Right.
And you know who he is.
Yeah.
I've never played hockey.
Right.
And I know who Gretzky is. he will tell you, I'm not these guys. I'm not that big. I just knew the game, and I was 2 steps ahead of you. When you were coming at me, I was already in front of you, around the corner, shooting the puck, because I already knew what you were going to do. Worry about those things, the nuances of footwork and how to control your body and how to sit down in a position, how to swivel your hips, how to be flexible in your joints and in your muscles. Be just aware. That's what they need to be learning.
Yep.
When you get to college, and trust me, you'll get all the weights you can ever dream about getting. You'll get weights you don't even want to get.
Yeah.
They will put it on you.
Yeah, they'll feed them to you.
And honestly, that's when I started growing, as in size, and was getting big.
Because I put on 30 my freshman year. I went from 185 to 217.
I put on like 15 pounds immediately within one semester or a year. I can't remember. You stop trying to overdo it.
Yeah. Right.
You need to. It's a finesse thing when you're coming to training kids. It's finesse. And you're not going to take a toddler, pick them up, and push them across the floor. No, they take their own time to develop. You hold their hands here and there, and they'll take their steps, and that's the same thing.
Right.
And then as they start walking, you give them more challenges here and there and there and there. The slow weight thing, I mean, I don't remember too many people lifting a ton of weight going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, because what? Who did push-ups? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is what I mean about the science of things.
Right.
It's we put too much into the science of a thing instead of the observation. My eye is better than any science thing that somebody can come up and say, oh, this schematic says, shut up, sit down. I'll give you a great example. Someone was talking to me a couple of years ago. I was training some regular folk, and we were going up Camelback Mountain or something, and one of the girls was talking about you need to keep your what is it?
Your heart rate?
It's the heart rate, but it's VO2.
Oh, your VO2.
Yeah, it has to be at this level and da-da-da to burn the proper this and that. And I was looking at her like she was crazy. I was like, you better get up this damn hill. What is wrong with you? Walk up the damn hill.
Right.
And the other guy next to me started laughing. He said, what are you just get up the hill.
Right.
And I always remind people something. I don't know of any of the Kenyans who win in everything running around with heart rate monitors.
Yeah.
And VO2 max and nothing. But they VO2 dusting the hell out of us on the track and on the marathons. So are the Ethiopians and now the Jamaicans, my peoples. What we call third world country. Look at Brazil. I mean, they've got a soccer team that is out of control.
They play barefoot on glass and all that crap, though.
That's what I'm saying. It's stop with this. Listen, if our technology and our quote-unquote Gatorade and shirts that sweat for you and sneakers that make you run faster, if all of this was so like, oh, man, that's hot, oh, that makes the world, oh, we would never lose any event in anything.
Ever.
But when you put us down to the base zero, which is running. Base zero is running. Everybody with nothing. You don't need anything to run. I don't remember us having no marathon world records of late. It's all Ethiopians, Kenyans, Moroccans, everybody but us.
Right.
The 800 meters, not us. The mile world record, not us. The 400, not us. The 200, not us. The 100, not us. What are you doing? Obviously, your science is flawed, and you need to think about it.
Right.
You need to think about it, because if it wasn't flawed, you'd be killing them.
Right.
And I know you can say football, da-da-da-da-da, but football was created by you. And so it's kind of like...
You control the variables.
Yeah. So you can't really... And then you get people from the Polynesians, and they come over, and beating the fool out of you in football because they're genetically designed that way. Thick, strong, and they have that thing, that heart, that desire, the thing that you don't account for ever.
Sure.
So anyway, my thing is that guy, whoever, because I've had one or two of those, I just let them go, man. I let them have their day in the sun.
Well, here's the thing that blew my mind the most about it, and I know we got to get out of here real quick, but he's a professional athlete.
Yeah, they don't know anything.
He played with Peyton Manning.
They don't know anything. They regurgitate. You have to remember, most of us are taught to regurgitate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about school. You go home, you go to school, they tell you this, and then they say, come back and give us these answers.
Sure.
If you come in and you say, okay, I got a question. Why are you using a letter in with the math equations? I thought math was numbers. What is this letter stuff? They'll look at you like you're crazy. When I was a kid, I was wondering that. I was like, yeah, what's this letters in this?
Right.
You're messing it up. And it was pi, and she was like, pi, pi, da-da-da-da-da. But my brain was like, why?
Exactly.
Most people don't ask why.
Sure.
They're told, this is what you do, this is the answer, and if you want a great grade, do it this way. Oh, okay, yeah, I want a great grade. And so they do it that way. I'm like, yeah, that's great. I want a great grade, but why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he, in my estimation, like most of the athletes I've dealt with, are talented to some degree.
Sure.
Have heart to some degree. But they don't think everything through. So they're in a position based on, just like a school. If you go to school, you follow these rules, blah, blah, blah. You have great grades, you go to a good school, you get a good job, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't mean you're intelligent.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't mean you followed the script pretty well.
Yeah.
You're a cog in the wheel.
Yeah. And if that's what you want to be, nothing's wrong with that. That's great. I mean, I'm not knocking that at all, because lots of cogs do much better than I do. But I just can't live that way.
Sure.
I mean, and so when I hear that from you telling me that, it makes me laugh too, because I'm sitting there saying, okay, I know why. Because you don't know no better, and that's okay. You're going to do what everybody else does, and your kid's going to be, hopefully he has the heart and the talent you had, because if he doesn't, it's too bad for him, because you haven't thought it through. And I'm giving you information, and instead of going over it in your mind, you fall back to, this is what I was taught.
Yeah. You don't question it.
Yes. You don't say, wow, that's an interesting viewpoint. Why would you say that? And then go further into it and try to find out. Yeah. No, they don't. And so you just gotta let that one go.
Yeah, it's like
there's gonna be a lot of those.
It's like that meatloaf story, like the mom, so to speak, or she's cooking a meatloaf and she cuts the ends off of it, and the daughter goes up to her and she's like, "Mom, why you cut the ends off the meatloaf?" And the mom says, "Well, I don't know. My mom did it."
Yep.
So then they go to the mom and say, "Mom, why'd you cut the ends off of meatloaf?" And the mom said, "Well, I didn't have the money, or the pan wasn't big enough at the time, so I had to cut the ends off to do it."
Yeah.
And then the mom with the daughter asked, she's like, "Oh, I thought it was for a specific reason," not questioning why it was actually done at the time.
Sure.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you're saying.
Beautifully said. Yes, that's exactly what it is. And our society is not taught that way. See, I'm somewhat fortunate. What you guys don't know, I didn't give part of my story, is I draw.
Okay.
I'm what people call an artist. Well, some people. which is a completely different thing overall. But I draw figurative. So if I draw you, it looks like a photograph of you.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'm lucky with that gift. So I look at things in detail and I question. So in order to draw an eye, when I was first drawing an eye, I would draw kind of what I see. I didn't get good at drawing an eye till I started questioning, what is an eye? First thing was, oh, it's a ball. So it's round. That's why the folds are here. So now with clearer understanding of why folds are where they are and why shadow is, now I can draw something with more meaning in it. Now it looks more real. Instead of two-dimensional, now there's a three-dimension to it, because in my mind, I'm creating the internals and only showing you the external.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I train, it's the same way.
Sure.
When I see you, I look at you and I see immediately every imbalance I can find.
Yep.
And then I decide, as you start moving and doing certain things, that's specific to that person and doesn't need to be changed because it may throw them off. Or like Michael Johnson runs a certain way.
Yeah.
You correct that. You
Right.
think you're going to make him faster, and actually you're making him slower.
Right.
Right.
So you have to be able, that's why I said the eye. You have to have an eye as a coach.
Yeah.
And you have to be questioning as a coach. Not just learn it and do it. Learn it, question it, try it yourself on you.
Yeah.
Observe how it works on others, and take all that information.
Sure.
And then over time with experience, and that's how it should be working.
Right.
That's interesting.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, because it reminds you of like, I know don't have a lot of time, but the NFL quarterback. He's an NFL type quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what's that mean? You know they
Right.
want you to cut and paste person, but that may be a poor controversial example. But like Colin Kaepernick,
Yes.
when he's doing what he does best at running, gunning, you can't stop him. But when you put him in the pocket, he's terrible.
Right.
You know, if you let the man play the game how he knows how to play the game best,
Yes.
you know, he'll excel.
He spent years of his life doing that,
Yeah.
developing that. That's his natural way. Okay, I'm going to say something. In the hood,
It was only a matter of time.
I'm not going to get political on it because that's a completely different podcast. But in the hood, when I was coming up in New York, and we played football, all you did was run. The quarterback was the guy.
He was the running back.
He
and
was,
the
he was that
Everything,
guy.
yeah.
So if you weren't fast as DB and keeping track of him, you losing.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Because everybody on the field was fast. Everybody was going to hit you hard. There was no, I can get around this dude. No, there's no getting around nobody.
Going through 'em.
They're all either fast and going to outrun you,
Right.
or they're going to run through you.
Yeah.
So you have to. So he plays that way.
Right.
The NFL doesn't necessarily play that way fully. They were shocked at Vic. Oh my gosh, look at Michael Vick. And we were like, oh yeah.
That's normal.
That's I mean, it's fresh to watch. It's like, and they're like, oh, he's like a joystick. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That's like Jimmy.
Right.
Jimmy be doing that every day.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it's the same with basketball. It's
like
the same with all
playground
this.
ball.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about? I remember I was working at a hotel. I was doing some kind of training or whatever. I know at the time. I was doing some training, and Mike Tyson, back in the day, he was still fighting a little, I think. And he walked through, and I saw him. I was like, what's up? Kind of like a head nod, Chuck the Deuce, whatever. And he walks by. And one of the girls that was there was like, oh, he's so scary. Oh, my goodness. I wouldn't want to see him by just walking by. I'm kind of like, you think? I'm like, listen, come to New York. Come with me to New York. Mike Tyson is normal.
Yeah.
He's not scary. He's normal. This is what we are. There are people who are scary.
Yeah.
Okay? Trust me. He's not. He's just, you're nervous around him because he's a little bigger than the average, like thick, and you know that he fights. And so you're, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is not here to beat you up.
Right.
He's trying to get paper.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and that's when I'm saying all this is to, what is my everyday, what is my Tuesday, is most of America's, oh my gosh, wow, what are you talking about? How'd you get that guy so fast? I didn't do anything. I just kind of showed him how to do a couple of things, and I take a little bit of credit, but honestly, it's the athlete really who does it. Because I can sit there and tell you everything to do, and you go home and eat Twinkies and pizza, and you still be a hot mess.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you just do a couple of things and whatever that I tell you to do, I can't take credit for that. Right. Not all of it. And a lot of trainers want to do that, and I think that's wrong.
Sure.
I mean, I feel proud about it, but honestly, I'm just a guide.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a guide. I fix a couple of things. Yeah, you got to do this way, this way. And after that, I'm like, okay, next.
Yeah.
Go do whatever you got to do.
Well, I know you got to get out of here, so we'll end it here. But
This is kind of fire. I need this. I like this. I like this little voice thing.
Oh yeah, man.
This is Kevin. This is not this is not Denzel.
Mr. Turner to some of you guys.
Coach Turner.
Yeah.
Coach Turner.
So real quick, let's bring it back to you real quick. We want to know. You can answer this question on any level, mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
First of all, what's something that you do each and every day to feed yourself and get the motivation going? And number two, what's something that you do each and every day to fuel yourself and sustain that motivation?
Okay, you got to ask me one at a time. I'm not like these fresh people with the good memory.
How do you start your day? What's part of your routine?
My first thing is be grateful. Mm-hmm. I mean, the first thing is, I may not seem that way when people see me in the morning because I don't like talking. Mm-hmm. My mouth hasn't.
You're East Coast, I get it.
Yeah, nothing's moving and working yet. Don't talk to me. Mm-hmm. Do not talk. Honestly, that's the worst thing someone could do because I won't talk to you.
Sure.
And it's not because I'm trying to be rude. It's so my thing is to get my mind going and honestly say, hey, everything's working. I'm good. I've lived a decent life, and I get another day. This is what's up.
Okay.
So that's the first thing.
Sure. And then how do you sustain your motivation? How do you keep things going? How do you keep that fire lit?
You know, that's interesting. I'm from Jamaica, so I'm from Kingston. If anybody knows anything about Kingston, like really knows about Kingston, it is not like in America when I came here and everybody was living in the quote unquote hood. I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't even have shoes. You got kicks. I have no shoes. I'm walking barefoot on the hot pavement, cut my foot with glass, pulled it out, hit it with a rock, and walked home. And I'm like 7 years old. So I guess because I came from a different place, I was happy. I look, and every day I think about those who don't have. I think about people who are in countries that they're not eating, or in prison, or being abused in some way, kids, adults. All of that, it quickly runs through my mind, and once again, it goes back to gratitude. Where I sit here and I say, wow, you know, I have nothing to complain about.
Sure.
I mean, I complain. Don't get me wrong. I'll complain. But I really, the nitty gritty of it is, I strive to do more because I want to do more for those who can't do or don't have the opportunity. And I don't mean to make this long, but I wanted to say this specifically on that. This girl, I saw this thing on a YouTube thing where this young girl was at a UN thing. I think it was a UN thing. And she made a point that I think everyone should hear. She said something to the effect that it's unfair that because I was born to a certain family in a specific geographical area, that I have the opportunities that I have. And it resonated with me because I was born in Jamaica. And if it were not for the parents that I had that said, let's try to do something a little better than what we have here. And they found a way here and worked as housekeepers, whatever they needed to do to give me opportunities, even though they think I should be doing what I'm doing. I think about that, and that motivates me to say, you know what, I want. It's about money. Don't get me wrong. Everybody wants to get paid well, not okay, but real well. But how big do you need? How big a house, mansion do you really need? So I'd rather, my drive is to do well, give information as much as I can to aid those who don't have as much, and hopefully do well enough to bring up those in countries and in areas and in situations that they don't know better.
Right.
They've been placed in, all they know is what they're being raised on, and they don't know there's another way, or they don't have those options, those means to escape and to do more. Sure. And so, I mean, it's a dream. It sounds weird, but, you know, that's my
powerful.
daily. So I'm not surprised when people...
That's where passion comes from, man.
Well, when people sit and they start crying, oh my gosh, there was a shooting and I need to send, and I'm like, don't you know that your neighbor is starving right now? Aren't you aware that that lady down there has no shoes at the coffee shop? Is anybody concerned about her? But you're crying about something you heard on the news 20 miles or 200 miles on the other side of the country. That's what you're crying about. So for me, I'm not knocking anybody. Live your life the way you want to do. But for me, I connect with that.
Love that.
I love that.
Yeah.
And where can the community connect with you and your company and see everything that you're doing and support you?
That's an interesting question. I'm trying to open. I'm doing a field out next to a turf field.
Okay.
And I'm looking for sponsors for that field, actually.
Nice.
To help get that done, because I do want to do a free weekend thing or something on the weekend where I get kids to come in and I give them my knowledge for free for a couple of hours, because number one, not everybody can afford what I do, and second, parents, and secondly, you know, I just get tired of seeing kids missing what is necessary for them.
Yeah.
And I wish someone helped me when I was in New York. Some guy, I was standing outside. He was like, "Yo, kid, you know how to throw this football?" I was like, "No." He was like, "You want to learn?" Sure. He showed me how to actually throw the ball right. That's why I can throw a football reasonably well. So I had those situations. So I want to be able to give back in that way. But to find me, I'm at the Core Facility. That's the Core Facility. Don't forget the .com. You can find me there, and I'm in Old Town Scottsdale, south of Old Town Scottsdale, by a little bit off of Scottsdale Road and Oak. Okay. Next to PHX CrossFit.
Nice.
Boom. keep good company.
We need to talk about CrossFit.
We will. We'll do a follow-up.
Yeah, we have to.
So, man, hey, much appreciated. Glad you were here.
Yeah.
Glad you got to share your message. And for everybody listening, thank you for being a part of our journey. We're always humbled to be a part of yours. And make sure you check out Coach Kev. Don't be too familiar.
Yeah, don't get to
at thecorefacility.com. Thecorefacility.com. Thanks for joining us today. And until next time, guys, feed me, fuel me.
And that'll do it for this episode with our special guest, Coach Kevin Turner. If you want to see everything that Coach Turner has going on and his gym, the Core Facility, go to the full show notes on feedmefuelme.com. Also, be sure to connect with us on social media, including Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter at feedmefuelme. We would love to hear from each and every one of you. If you found this episode inspiring in any way, please rate, comment, share, and subscribe so we can continue on this journey together. Also, be sure to share it with your friends and family on social media, including Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter, or any other social platforms that you use. We really appreciate you spending your time with us today and allowing us to join you on your journey. We would love to hear your feedback on this episode, as well as guests and topics for future episodes. To end this episode, we would love to leave you with a quote by Omar Hamoy. The largest opportunities are found in ideas that go against the grain. Thank you again for joining us, and we will catch you on the next episode.